Serving your town and all of northern Michigan. This is 7 and 4 News at 11.
We had a vision, we had a plan, and we executed that well. I want to keep that same philosophy going.
Well, the voters have spoken. The next governor of Michigan will be one tough nerd. Republican Rick Snyder has defeated Democrat Verge Bernero. Good evening. I'm Mark Gillette.
And I'm Diana Fairbanks. The race for governor, you could call it a landslide, you could call it a mandate, whatever you call it. The former president of Gateway, no real political experience versus the mayor of Lansing, a career politician, a matchup many thought would be unlikely just a few months ago. So here's how the vote stacks up. Snyder is taking the majority of the vote right now, 60%, Bernero with 38%. The rest was split up between 3 other candidates. This is 44% of precincts reporting.
That's right. This number these numbers started to come in early throughout the evening, and this trend continued throughout the evening. It looked like it was going to go this way. And within the last hour, we had a concession speech by Verge Bernero and an acceptance, of course, also coming up by Rick Snyder. We hope to actually bring that to you live in just a few minutes. So again, Republican Rick Snyder will be Michigan's 48th governor. He's going to take over for Governor Granholm, who is term limited. Now,
joining us live from the Snyder camp, 7 and 4's Brody O'Connell. Brody, you've been following this race. What is the mood down there tonight?
Wow, well, I'll tell you what, a spirited crowd right now. You can probably hear it behind me. In fact, any moment, for the first time ever, the state of Michigan is about to hear from Governor-elect Rick Snyder. You can hear the music, Snyder making his way out onto the stage. Let's go ahead and pan up to the stage. It looks like he is on his way out any moment now, and it looks like he is, in fact, hugging with family members and about to give a speech here to an adoring crowd. We're going to get a word from the governor live, but first, I had the opportunity to meet up with him earlier today. He's been called a political novice, he's been called one tough nerd, and now you can call him governor of the state of Michigan. It's the sound of one tough nerd with enough popularity to become Michigan's first Republican governor in 8 years.
And that's what we've kept going this whole time. This is not about beating someone else. This is a bright future for Michigan.
Snyder's background of seasoned entrepreneur but novice politician made him a surprise choice in the August primary when he upset a distinguished field, including 6-term Congressman Pete Hoekstra.
To me, it was clear why I was able to have a large victory there. And it wasn't about me. It was about the people on our campaign. It was about our volunteers. When I looked in their eyes, they had a fire, a passion, a sparkle, a twinkle that you didn't see on the other campaigns.
The same vision Snyder used to build Gateway Computers into a Fortune 500 company, he now plans to use to reinvent Michigan into what he calls a winning state.
The fixing thing doesn't work. Those are more Band-Aids. It's like tweaking this policy, tweaking that policy. It is time to fundamentally reinvent our state, to get to customer service government instead of bureaucracy, to get an understanding that government's role isn't to create jobs, it's to create that positive environment. And then it's a whole cultural question. Let's stop being negative and start being positive.
Nurturing the growth of a global diverse economy, protecting Michigan's natural resources, enhancing our central cities, and enticing Michigan's youth to stay here in the state of Michigan. It's a daunting task that the majority of voters think this tough nerd has the best chance of pulling off.
But it's an honor and a responsibility, and hopefully people can see how we've run our entire campaign. Is we started with that. We had a vision, we had a plan, and we executed that well. I want to keep that same philosophy going, about showing real results to real people.
Well, right now, real results for real people. And in fact, that's a message that the governor-elect is sending right now. We've been following this. No surprise here. It is official. The next governor for the state of Michigan is Rick Snyder. Reporting live in Detroit, I'm Brody O'Connell, 7 and 4 News.
All right, thanks a lot, Brody. A lot of excitement there. Meanwhile, over at the Bernero camp, America's self-described angriest mayor still, well, likely upset tonight. Either way, a tough-fought campaign. Bernero was behind in the polls, nearly 20 points headed into today, a spread he just could not overcome.
7 and 4's Andrew Keller is with the Democrats as they watch the vote totals come in tonight. Let's go to Andrew with more.
Right around 10 o'clock, Democratic gubernatorial candidate Verge Bernero came out to a few hundred of his supporters and said he had conceded the race to Republican Rick Snyder.
It wasn't our time. A few minutes ago, I called Rick Snyder to congratulate him on being elected Michigan's next governor. Now wait. I offered my full support as he transitions into office, and I wish him and his family the best as they take on this enormous challenge, and I know you wish them the best as well.
From From the start, it's been an uphill battle for Lansing mayor and gubernatorial candidate Verge Bonero. Pre-polls had him down by double digits. The most recent poll, the day before the election, had him down by 20 points. However, he stuck by his message of what he says he'd bring to the state of Michigan if elected governor. He was outspent by Snyder, 4-1, but worked to the last minute, pushing his message.
You know, in some respects, I wish I had 2 or 3 more weeks to get more of my message out. In other respects, I'm delighted that it'll be over, one way or the other.
His campaign spotlighted the working class American, the men and women who work for a living.
We have a plan that works for regular people on Main Street. The folks up on Wall Street might not be so excited about my plan because we're going to hold them accountable.
Right to the end and right before he conceded, Bonero and his camp remained confident. And he made sure to say one thing, win or lose, right now it's about the state of Michigan. Bonero pledged to back Snyder as the new governor of Michigan if he supports the middle class. At the MGM Grand in downtown Detroit, Andrew Keller, 7 and 4 News.
One of the most closely watched congressional races in the entire country was the 1st district race right here in northern Michigan. That district covers the Upper Peninsula, much of northeastern Lower Peninsula. It's currently served by Congressman Bart Stupak, who is not seeking re-election. 6 candidates were on the ballot, and with 69% of precincts reporting, it appears as if Republican Dr. Dan Benishek will be headed to Washington. Benishek with about 51% of the votes to closest challenger, State Representative Gary McDowell with 42% of votes. McDowell has conceded this race. The Crystal Falls husband, father, and grandfather, Benishek ran on his 4 R's pledge to read legislation, repeal Obamacare, reform government, and reduce taxes. As for how he'll create jobs here in Michigan, here's what he told us.
I intend to create jobs by cutting government spending, cutting taxes, and cutting regulations. If we let the people loose, they'll create the jobs and the opportunities.
Moving on to the 2nd congressional district, 5 candidates were running to replace Pete Hoekstra, who did not run for re-election and made a failed attempt in the governor's race. Right now, it looks like Republican Bill Huizenga is in the lead with 66% of the votes. That's with 40% of precincts reporting. He'll represent voters in Michigan's 2nd congressional district, which covers Benzie and Wexford down through Holland. Huizenga has transitioned between politics and business as a realtor and small business owner, Hoekstra's district director as well, and state representative. He says creating jobs comes down to 2 factors.
Well, there's no magic formula and a way that's going to be able to be done with this just with one person. I want to be part of a group of people that are going to change the culture, and that's really going to take a group effort, and it's people coming together and really finding those solutions.
All right, now let's head on over to the 4th congressional district. 4 candidates squaring off in this race. Republican incumbent Dave Camp hoping to return to Capitol Hill. His biggest challenger, Democrat Jerry Campbell, a township supervisor from Roscommon County. Now, with 50% of the precincts reporting, it appears as if Dave Camp will be making that trip back to Washington. Congressman Camp with about 67% of the votes compared to 29% for Jerry Campbell. U.S. taxpayer John Emmerich with 2, and Libertarian Clint Foster also coming in with 2% of the votes. Now, Congressman Camp knows the district well because it covers the counties on your screen from Leelanau County in a stair-step fashion all the way down to Shiawassee. He says that knowledge and experience will help get Michigan back on track.
And I think it's very important that we get government out of the way. There's been far too much spending, and the debt is so large now that it's actually impacting our economic growth and our ability to create jobs. So we have to get spending and our debt under control, and we need to make sure that taxes don't go up next year.
Let's check out the state Senate races now, beginning with the 34th. That's the area that covers Muskegon, Newaygo, Oceana, and Mason counties. Currently, Republican State Representative Jeff Hansen has a very strong lead with 64% of votes over Democrat State Representative Mary Valentine and Libertarian Nicholas Sundquist. It is a case of North versus South when it comes to the candidates running for the 35th. Republican Darwin Boer from Everett versus Democrat Roger Dunnigan from Suttons Bay, with Libertarian Alita Wren from Big Rapids. The 35th district covers 11 counties seen on your screen, currently served by Michelle McManus, who is term limited. With 57% of precincts reporting, it appears that current state representative Darwin Boer will be returning to Lansing as a senator. He says this time around, he hopes lawmakers do a better job with the budget.
We have lingered on that every year. We have let the budget go and pass the time of budgeting, and it creates all kinds of problems within the state. So first off, we got to get the budget in order.
Well, two state representatives, both vying to become the state senator for the 36th district, Midland-based Republican John Molinar and Alpena-based Democrat Andy Newman. Now, the 36th district covers most of the northeastern lower portion of the state down to Midland County. Right now, it looks like Molinar, the former Dow chemical chemist, is leading over Newman. He's up 64% in the vote count to 37%. Moving along to the 37th state Senate seat, two candidates with two very different approaches to tackling our issues. This district covers the 8 counties seen on your screen, including Grand Traverse County. Republican Howard Walker is going to be headed back to Lansing. Walker is leading over Democratic challenger Bob Carr, 64 to 36%. Walker, a former state representative, says he is ready to hit the ground running on day one with a plan for success.
My number one goal is to lower taxes for job creators and businesses and also streamline regulations so it's easier to do business in Michigan.
Moving on to the state house races, we begin tonight with the 100th district. That's the district covering Lake, Newaygo, and Oceana counties, currently served by Jeff Hansen, who ran for Senate. With 67% of precincts reporting, Republican John Bumstead has a strong lead over challengers Democrat Bill Richards and Libertarian Nathaniel Wren. A lot of eyes were on the 101st state house race as two candidates face off for the second time. This is the district that covers lakeshore counties from Leelanau down to Mason County. Right now, with 40% of precincts reporting, it's really too close to call. Republican Ray France is narrowly leading incumbent Democrat Dan Scripps by about 500 votes. The two faced off in the last election as well, but the anti-incumbent mood may have played in France's favor this time around. Of course, we'll continue to follow this one very close right now in the 101st district. Looking at the 102nd state house race, this is the one that covers viewers in Mecosta, Osceola, and Wexford counties, currently represented by Darwin Boer. Right now, it appears that Phil Potvin is leading with 65% of the votes, ahead of challengers Democrat Jody Estes Gabbard, Libertarian Thomas Wren, and Independent Roy Kissinger. On to the 103rd district, which represents Missaukee County east to Iosco County. With 78% of votes, it looks like Republican Bruce Rendon will be your next state representative. Democrat Van Sheltron got 38% of the votes at this point.
All right, let's update you now on one of our most population-dense districts, talking about the 104th here. While it's the smallest geographically, it has a lot of voters in it. Facing off in the current 104th District State Rep, Wayne Schmidt, Democrat John Scrodato, and Megan Crandall, who's running as an independent. The winner of this race will represent voters in Grand Traverse and Kalkaska County. So who's it going to be? Well, right now, with 16% of the precincts reporting, it looks like incumbent Wayne Schmidt will be headed back down to Lansing for a second term.
My goal as a father of a young family is to make sure that Michigan is not just prospering in these next 2 years, but in the next 50 years, so that my kids can come back here and enjoy the same Michigan that I enjoyed growing up here.
Moving on to the 105th, this district covers Charlevoix, Sheboygan, Otsego, and Antrim counties on your screen there. Right now, political newcomer Republican Greg McMaster is leading the vote over challenger Greg Dean with 70% of the vote to Dean's 30%. That's with 66% of the precincts reporting. McMaster tells 7 and 4 News that he sees our state with a brighter future.
I can see us turning around within 2 to 3 years and being able to see jobs coming back, our tax-based revenue coming back, and seeing a vibrant economy return. But it's going to take everybody working together.
Let's head on over to the 106th now. That district covers northeastern Michigan, counties along Lake Huron coast from Presque Isle down to Alcona and inland on over to Crawford. With 62% of the precincts reporting here, Republican Peter Patalia is leading his way. He has 57% of the vote. Democrat Casey Viglin only has 38%. North to the 107th, that district covers Emmett, Mackinac, Chippewa counties and is currently served by Gary McDowell, who, of course, made that run for the 1st District U.S. Congress. With 53% of the precincts reporting, it appears that Republican Frank Foster will be headed to Lansing. Foster with 58% of the votes, giving him the nod over Richard Timmer. Well, there is still a lot more of Decision 2010 live election coverage coming up.
Remember, if you've missed any of tonight's results, we'll continue to scroll them at the bottom of your screen for the rest of our broadcast. You can also find them easily at your fingertips at upnorthlive.com.
But you can stick right here because we're going to go over the proposals and local ballot issues, including the Traverse City Senior Center millage, coming up. You're watching 7 and 4 News at 11 Decision 2010. We'll be right back.